Hello, everyone. My name is Isaac Sunderland, and my business is Sunderland Carbon Consulting. So the current state of the carbon market is led around really the global effort to alleviate the climate change crisis. It just led to many entities in both the public and private sector to pledge reductions in their carbon footprint. And this is both from a governmental standpoint and business, and as well as clubs and organizations like the Boston Red Sox. So we see everyone from China to Delta Airlines to California. So a market has been born in this area where we can see carbon has effectively been traded and bought and sold on both the California cap and trade auction settlement, as well as the European Union emissions trading price. These prices have increased quite a bit in the last 5 years, as you can see, which has certainly led some interest in the farming world, as these people that like China and like Delta Airlines, they do not so much change their practices as much as they pay others to change practices on their behalf, which is the development of the credit, which then is sold on to the businesses. So the problem as it stands now is that we have those that emit a lot of carbon, notably industries and governments, are looking to finance the farming operations. And as it stands now, there's quite a few third-party aggregators that are getting between the industry and the farming operations to help enroll them in contracts in order to help them generate credits. And then they sell those credits onto the private industry, or onto the industries and those that emit carbon. And there's just a lot of discrepancy between these third-party aggregators about what practices farmers should adopt, when they should adopt them, how long these contracts go. And ultimately, it's led farmers to be rather confused and frustrated. It seems like the default is, well, if it's that confusing, I'm just not going to touch it. And I think that's really unfortunate, as it's a really unique opportunity for farmers to make extra finances, as well as help alleviate the climate crisis that we are currently in. So my solution is to develop Sunderland Carbon Consulting, in which I'll analyze individual farming operations, research the unique aspects of each agribusiness, advise producers on which practices to adopt, and then observe the changing litigation of the voluntary carbon market. So there's a pretty large market opportunity. Roughly, there's 58,000 farms in Kansas with an average size of 784 acres. So I'll be targeting more larger farms that are more progressive and looking to take on more risk to add more revenue cash flows. As well, my market segment might be retirement age farmers looking for more passive income, where you're not farming as much, but you are enrolling your land in these contracts where you can make essentially passive income by offsetting your carbon footprint. So namely, a lot of these larger farms are found in Western Kansas, as these two tables display. So my business model is really to help farms integrate portions of their operation into these alternative practices and lock them into a carbon contract. I would operate as a value-based consultant, so I would only make money in the instance that the farm makes money, in which case I'd take simply just 15% of that profit generated from these carbon contracts. My competitive analysis, so my main competition would be third-party aggregators that I previously spoke about, notably like Indigo, Nori, Agoro, Carbon Alliance. And I try to work really on behalf of the farm rather than having my own bias and try to enroll as many people as possible. I'm actually neither buying or selling the credits. I simply just represent the farming operation and determine if it would be financially and economically feasible for them to enter into a carbon contract. And to my knowledge, I'm really the only third-party consultant to work on behalf of farmers as it stands now. My marketing and sales strategy would mostly be through a word-of-mouth strategy, where I'd utilize my existing network of large farms in Kansas. So I've had 3 internships in agriculture in Kansas, as well as I have grown up in the agriculture space. So I feel like I know quite a few farmers as it stands. And I'd utilize also the Environmental Working Group's farm subsidy database. I believe there'd be a direct correlation between really large farms and farms that take a lot of subsidies, and farms that look to have more alternative cash flow opportunities. So here are my financial projections. My expenses would be mostly Microsoft, designing a website, licensing my business. For the most part, most of the value that I have already as a business is the economic knowledge I've acquired through my degree and soon to be my master's degree as well. Revenue would be, once again, as farmers sell their credits, I'd get 15% of the sales from these credits. And ideally, I'd like to start pretty small. So in the first year alone, if I would just service maybe 4 or 5 farms, I'd come out to be about $3,800. So my traction milestones would be by the end of 2023. So this year, I'd like to contact 2 farming operations to initiate the sales funnel. By 2024, I'd like to have my business licensed and established and also service 4 farms. By 2 years' time, I'd like to double my clientele base to 8 farming operations. And then ultimately in 10 years' time, I'd like to at least manage 20 farming operations and potentially sell the existing company to a carbon credit aggregator or someone else. I think this, as the trend is developing, as agriculture is changing into the carbon credit marketplace, there's quite a few pain points that can be identified for farmers. And I think the cycle of my nature might be kind of, the nature of my business cycle could be pretty short-lived. So I just kind of like to ride this trend and then sell out my data and my connections onto third-party aggregators. So thank you very much. That's Sunderland Carbon Consulting.